Hello and welcome to another Vinny Talks Yanks. I'm your host, Vincent LaRose, and today, if I sound a little congested, I am. It's freezing outside here on Long Island, so I'm a little stuffy. But we are day 4 into winter meetings today, and the Yankees have had some positive, some positive stuff, mostly negative as of now. We have yet to pick up anybody during the winter meetings. A couple big free agents off the board. Pete Alonso signed with the Orioles yesterday. Edwin Diaz signed with the Dodgers. And a couple more I'm not really thinking about right now. I'm really worried about the Yankees as of now. So we've got news on multiple things for the Yankees. One I want to speak on first, which kind of hurts my heart. I saw a report today that the Yankees are listening for trade offers for Jazz Chisholm Jr. and that's upsetting because if you guys don't know, I made a video probably about a month ago about how Yankees need to extend Jazz and how Jazz is literally perfect for the Yankees. He's exactly the left-handed hitter they need, the energy, the speed, the defense, it's all mixed pretty well. And I feel like it fits well as a Yankee. Obviously, we don't know everything, but from the outsider looking in, it looks like he fits well in the clubhouse. It feels like everybody respects him and loves having him. So, I don't see why we would listen to trades for him unless it was something like really, really big. But there's really not much I would take for Jazz, to be completely honest. This would have to be like a massive blockbuster trade where we're getting one or two guys that are going to immediately improve our team, because losing Jazz hurts. It really does. Regardless of what you think about him, whether you don't like him or not, he's a good baseball player. He steals bags. He hits a ton of home runs. Yes, is his average where you want to be? No, but he's hitting over 250, and he's a productive baseball player. He's going to probably be an all-star another couple of times in his career. I just don't feel like it'd be the right move for the Yankees to give up on Jazz. Or not give up on him, but trade him away. So that's what I wanted to open up with, because I love Jazz. Jazz is one of my favorite Yankees right now. I know there's a bunch of mixed opinions on him, but Jazz is, I don't see any reason why he should be traded away from the Yankees. I feel like he was a perfect fit, the way we got him, how he's fit in with us, how he could be himself with the Yankees, everything combined. Yes, is he cocky? Yeah, I don't have a problem with cocky though, so I don't see any world I would trade Jazz Chisholm Jr., but they are listening for trade offers. Obviously, that doesn't mean it's going to happen. They probably have to get something tremendous that they're going to, it has to be something insane. I don't think they're really going to go to teams and be like, this is what we want for Jazz. I think it's going to be a scenario of they call up, they're asking about Jazz, and the Yankees are listing their needs for Jazz if they want Jazz. So, like I said, I feel like it's probably not going to happen, but it's a possibility, which scares me because I love Jazz. But next thing we'll get into, the most important part of the offseason so far, is we have news on the Cody Bellinger contract, and we have news exactly why it's taking so long. So Cody Bellinger and Scott Boras are looking for around they want a 7-year contract. They're trying to get 7 years, and Yankees are not budging. They're not doing what they would with what. They are not doing what they did with Juan Soto last year, where they're bidding back and forth with teams. They're not doing that. They've already said they're tired of Boras, and they're done with Boras burning them and using them for his client's advantage to go get them some more money elsewhere. So it seems like it's going to be very unlikely the Yankees and Cody can agree on a contract that Cody wants. The only way I see him returning is if they, meet in the middle. Yankees agree to 6. With a little less AAV. That's the only way I see this happening, and Cody just wants to be a Yankee. If he's chasing the bag, he's obviously going to go to the Mets or the Dodgers. So we'll see what happens. I just can't stand dealing with Boras, man. This is why all the time, I know the Yankees obviously probably went to Bellinger about an extension, but you know how Boras is. He tells his clients to never to accept extensions, go see how much money you can get. And it sucks, because as much as the game is about money and it's to make a profit, it's also about baseball, and young fans don't understand that how deeply money is involved. They just understand baseball. That's what they like watching, that's what they like playing. So when one of your favorite players goes to a different team for something you cannot comprehend, it tends to drive fans away. And not saying this happens to a ton of teams around baseball, maybe like young athletics fans, stuff like that. So I just don't think Boras is really good for the game anymore. I think his entire goal is not to find where his player fits best. It's to get the most money and get as much money as possible for not only himself but his for his client. And again, that's his job. So Boras, we hate him because he's just so good at his job, and he is very good at his job, and I respect him for how good he is at his job, but I just don't think he's helping the game. He's helping his players and his pockets, but he's not helping baseball in a whole. So we will see. Some crazy stuff has happened with Diaz going to the Dodgers and a bunch of people complaining. It's like, look, to be completely honest with you, we see with the Mets why spending money doesn't mean you're going to win a championship, because you can spend a ton of money and still suck, and then at that point you're just the Mets. So the Mets are losing out on so many guys, and it just seems like nobody wants to play there anymore. I don't think Soto even wanted to play there. I think he went there obviously because they offered him the most money, and the Mets offered him a lot more perks for his mom and his family than the Yankees were willing to give up. So we'll see what happens with the Mets, but losing Diaz, losing Alonso, trading Nimmo for Simeon, who had just a horrific year last year, it just doesn't seem like the Mets are really trending in the right area. Which really doesn't matter for the Yankees because the Yankees are kind of doing the same thing. I don't think it's necessarily a player doesn't want to play for the Yankees anymore, although our fans, I'm speaking as a Yankee fan, our fans are horrible. I know players have to say they're the best fans in the world. We're not. So many of our fans are so ignorant and don't really understand actual baseball and don't understand how contracts work, and don't understand sometimes a guy just does not want to play in New York. And if I see them shitting on Soto because you go to the other side of the city where now you're going to get even more hate, which makes no sense to me. At that point he clearly didn't care about legacy. He clearly just cared about the perks for his family and the most money in his pockets. But there is an issue with Yankees fans and not really understanding that a lot of these players are humans too. And I get the boos for Volpe because wow, it's really bad, but you got to be, just as much as you're booing Volpe, you got to boo Cashman. So which they do. So they hold them accountable. But I shouldn't say all fans. It's a good amount of fans. The guys who went to Mookie Betts' glove in the World Series. That's a great example of just what are you guys doing? But anyways, besides that, we're not talking about that. We're talking about winter meetings. So the winter meetings is it's getting interesting. More guys are coming off the table pretty fast. Schwarber's gone. Diaz is gone. Alonso's gone. A bunch of guys. The Yankees were talked about possibly reaching out, but nothing that the Yankees were too big on. As of now, it's still Bellinger, it's still Tutsuya Imai, it's still possibly Michael King. The bullpen is mostly going to be from trades. There's maybe one or two free agents they might pick up, but don't expect the Yankees to go super crazy. The roster is good, I will admit that, but there is definitely holes in the roster. I don't have an issue with giving Jones or Dominguez an opportunity to prove themselves, but you put yourself in a spot where if Grisham's hurt, now you need a center fielder. And yes, a ton of people are like, well, just throw Dominguez back in his natural position. Guys, look, I fully admit that I'm sure he'd be better in center field, but how bad he is in left field, he's not going to be good in center field either. You're asking for something that is only going to piss you off in the end. Just don't ask for that. Dominguez needs to learn left field. That's where he's going to be. He's not going to play in center field. You might have a possibility of Jones going out there for a couple games, maybe if Grisham's hurt. Jones has played a decent amount of center field in the minors, but I wouldn't expect too much of that either. But I think as of now, to be honest, Judge is more likely the backup center fielder than any other outfielder on the roster. Of course, unless we get Cody Bellinger, then he's out there in center, but it's going to be interesting to see what the Yankees do. Some more news. The Yankees have contacted the Brewers, like I said in the last video. They're in talks for Freddie Peralta and I forget his guy's closers, Trevor McGill. They're in talks for both of those guys. They're trying to work out a trade there. That seems very unlikely. It's being said that the Brewers want a ton for both of those guys, so I don't see the Yankees making a trade like that. Also, another trade that's been talking about is the Corey Seager one. Apparently, the Yankees and Rangers have talked a lot more than I think people realize about Corey Seager. Yankees are very interested in Corey Seager. which is strange to me again, just like the Brendan Donovan trade that the Yankees have been interested in, because Cashman said not only a couple days ago the Yankees are way too lefty, and two guys that they've been heavily going after this offseason are both lefties. So that tells me we're going to get off probably somebody. I mean, probably Wells. I mean, the Yankees wish list, as it has said, is Cody Bellinger, another starting pitcher. They are going heavy for a starting pitcher. They do want one more starting pitcher. Bullpen help, and either a right-handed first baseman or a right-handed catcher. Honestly, first baseman or catcher, I'm okay with either way. If you get a catcher, you have two left-handed first basemen, or if you get a first baseman, you have two left-handed catchers. Rice is going to go back and forth regardless. So just getting a right-hander in the mix is good. That's why I wanted Okamoto so bad. The first and third baseman from the MPB, because he can play first and third base. So on days you want to give Rice off, you can throw him at first. On days you want to give McMahon off, you can throw him at third. He's not an elite defender, of course, but he's a contact kind of guy, and that's really what the Yankees need. There's been a couple reports that the Yankees might slightly be interested in Luis Arraez, but I highly doubt it. He's going to be he just doesn't fit with the Yankees. His defense is horrific, and it's just another left-handed bat that, although he's a good bat on ball kind of guy, it's just there's not enough outside of that. So there is one thing I am very interested in, though. So there is definitely routes the Yankees can go if we lose out on Bellinger. One I really, really like is trading for Steven Kwan. He's the perfect leadoff hitter. We've seen it against us in the playoffs. He's absolutely perfect for the Yankees. He can lead off. That right field would be perfect for him, but he slaps the ball all sides of the field. He doesn't strike out a ton, which is exactly what the Yankees need. And it'd be like replacing Bellinger with the guy who's probably just a little less versatile in the field and a little bit less power, but he's going to hit more for average. He's going to strike out less than Bellinger, and he's Gold Glover in defense. You're not losing anything in left field. If it was Bellinger or Kwan, you're really not. Kwan is amazing in left field. It's just you're probably going to have to give up one of our top 5 prospects for him. You might be thinking, really, that Cleveland wants that much. It's very possible they can work out a trade for a couple prospects, a couple of or not so great prospects, as you would say, because Cleveland is very good at scouting. Cleveland's good at finding talent, but Cleveland also has to see that in our organization, and I'm sure Cleveland's smart enough to know the Yankees hype up their prospects way more than they're ever going to be. They've been doing it for the past 10 fucking years. I mean, I'm sorry for my language, but they've been doing it for years now. They're hyping up prospects that just are playing bad. Good in AA, all right in AAA, but I mean, Caleb Durbin is probably one of our best prospects to come out, and we didn't hear anything to him until like 2 months before he was traded. So it's gonna be interesting. Obviously, other than Aaron Judge, that doesn't count. But Aaron Judge is his own level, so we don't talk about that. Aaron Judge was always an MLB player in my heart. But anyways, there's a ton going on. There's a bunch of different rumors going around. The Yankees are interested in a ton of different pitchers. It seems like Screwball is very unlikely, as it from what it seems, it's more likely that he's going to the Dodgers than anywhere else, which is just like insane, because how many guys are they gonna get? I respect it, bro. They're going out there and getting what they want to get. Fans can say whatever they want. They have good scouting. They have good coaching. They're able to build prospects that are actually good in the MLB, and their teams know that, so they want to trade for their prospects. And so not only do they have the money to get guys, they have the assets to go trade for people as well. So the Dodgers did well, and they put themselves in a very good spot. Hate them all you want. People say whatever they want about the Dodgers. Yes, I see. The only true problem I have with this whole scenario is just how much money they were allowed to defer. Because I feel like at some point it's got to be like, all right, guys, you cannot defer 3/4 of your entire payroll. That's insane. But technically it's in the CBA. They can do it. The only issue I really have with it is if it's true that the MLB vetoed the Yankees deferring a part of Judge's contract when they agreed to contract 2 years ago. 2 years ago. It was 2 days ago. But 2 years ago when they agreed, or maybe it was 3 years ago. Was it 22? It was technically 22, but it was for the 23 season. That's why I'm getting confused. But the rumors are that the MLB vetoed the Yankees. Deferring part of Judge's contract, but that has not been confirmed. So if that was confirmed, yes, I'd be very upset. But if not, then whatever. The Mets defer money too. I'm surprised the Yankees really haven't use that, but I don't think they want money owed in the future. I think that's really the whole big thing here right now, exactly why they don't want to give Bellinger the 7 years. I think when Judge's contract is up, like, because Judge, Stanton, Cole, in the next 5 years, all their contracts are going to be, you're going to have a couple more years with Judge, but like when Stanton's contract is up, when Cole's contract is done, when you have DJ LeMahieu still on contract for $15 million this year, when you have all that money coming off in the next coming years, they have a ton of payroll to shed, and those are Judge's later years. So if they're not in a spot to win, they probably are gonna kill it down a little bit, not give out so many massive contracts. Fried, Fried's is going to be later, right around Judge's, but Rodon's contract will end. They have in the next, in what, I think it's 2032, something like that. No, not 32. It's sooner than that. 2030. They're not even. I think they're at 100 million right now. Obviously, if you add contracts to come, that's going to add up, but as of now, I think they're looking that in the future, because Hal Steinbrenner really it's very obvious he doesn't want to spend a ton of money anymore on the roster. It's not like the Yankees in the early 2000s where a ton of money means we're going to win a World Series. There's a ton of teams with a ton of money now, so it's really it's an interesting scenario for the Yankees and where the Yankees are sitting, although I think Hal should have no issue spending the money, but whatever, I'm just a regular dude, so and then the last little update I'm going to get into is the Kyle Tucker update. So over the past couple of days, it seemed like the Yankees were completely out on Tucker. It seemed like it was very unlikely. The Dodgers announced they don't want a long-term deal with Tucker. They would be looking more for a short-term deal, and Tucker's too good for that. He's going to get a long-term deal, so I see it unlikely he's going to go to the Dodgers now, although they do need an outfielder. I think Cody Bellinger actually fits them better than Tucker does, to be completely honest, just with Cody Bellinger's versatility in the outfield, and, Cody Bellinger has played there before, so I think they feel more comfortable with Bellinger over Tucker as of now. But the Yankees, the reports are that the Yankees, the Mets, it's the Yankees, Mets, Blue Jays, and there's another team. I think they said Orioles or something, but I don't think it's the Orioles. But those three teams are really in the biggest, more likely than the rest to pick up on Tucker. I think the Yankees' only thing stopping them from giving Tucker a huge contract is really just seeing what Bellinger does. Bellinger, I think, is going to be a lot longer than a lot of people realize. I think they're really going to fight for that 7 years. I don't think any team is going to give Bellinger 7 years, although I believe in Bellinger's talents, and I trust him a lot. I don't think he's going to be good for another 7 years, to be completely honest. I think he's got 3 or 4 good years on him. The 5th year is more of you've done good enough to deserve this 5th year. And then the 6th would just be because the team wants to just get him at that point, and they'll eat the money at the end of it. But I mean, he's 31 years old. I believe he's 31, but he's 31. He's going into his 31-year-old season. So, 7 years puts him at 38, going into his 38th-year-old season, and he really hasn't shown teams around baseball that he's going to be he hasn't been consistent throughout his career. He had an MVP season, don't get me wrong, Rookie of the Year, but then he had a couple years where he was really, really bad. He took a prove-it deal in Chicago, and he was good for the first season. He wasn't elite, and then the second season he just wasn't nearly as good as he was in the first season with the Cubs. Obviously he gets traded to the Yankees. And then he showed, it seems like he really found his swing again and found his stride. Although he was very good last year, he's not worth $200 million. I don't think any team in baseball is going to give them $200 million. I think that even the Mets have kind of learned their lesson with these massive contracts. They lost over $300 million last year. When Alonso's contract came out, they were like, yeah, no. They basically was told that they were never even in the ballpark of that amount of money. They were never going to give him that amount of money, which is crazy because the richest owner in baseball isn't willing to pay Pete Alonso $150 million. That's nuts. But if Pete Alonso only got $150 million, I see no way in hell that any teams are offering Bellinger more than anywhere near 200. I think he maxes out at 180. So I think they're being a little over realistic with their asks for Cody Bellinger. Juan Soto was super, super young, and that's what makes that deal work. And he's also been good since he's been 19. He's been good every single season since he was 19 years old. That's why Juan Soto got $800 million. Was it an overpay? Absolutely. But It's honestly the same scenario. Shohei, he's been good every single season. Every single season he's been in the MLB, whether pitching or just as a DH, he's been good every year. Aaron Judge was good every single season he's been in the MLB. Even Giancarlo Stanton was good every single year until he got his massive contract, although the injuries have hurt him toward the later end of the contract. But for Cody Bellinger to get more money a year than Giancarlo Stanton, but Giancarlo Stanton had to be good every single season of his career to get that kind of contract. Obviously, it's way more than what Cody Bellinger wants. But I see it hard to believe. That's exactly why people want to pay Tucker, because since he's been a rookie, he's been good every single season. Although he has a couple injury seasons, he's been good every year. Cody Bellinger, it's like you went to a job. Oh, you were elite when you were 7 years ago, but there's like a 4-year gap of you not doing anything. And then, you had one really good year, one okay year, and then you just came back off a really good year. Yeah, that really good year entices me to pay you a bunch of money, but that gap really worries me about a long-term deal. And I understand, and I'm completely okay if the Yankees were like, I'm sorry, we lost him to the Mets, per se, because the Mets were willing to give him 7 years for $200 million. We were not. I'm not even going to be angry at that, honestly. I mean, 5 years max, I would say, all right, if a 6 gets it done, I would do a 6th, but anything more than 6 is astronomical. Like, 6 is already a stretch, like a really big stretch. I only think he's going to be productive for 4 of those 5. I already think the 5th year is kind of like a you earn this kind of thing with the two or three seasons of amazing play that you have had. But a 6th is just kind of like, all right, we just want you for those couple seasons. We're willing to eat 2 years. A 7th is just like, dude, that's just, you're just asking to just throw money away at that point, and I don't think it's a right deal. And I'm very happy the Yankees are staying firm on this. Usually, most of the time, I'm just like, fuck, screw it, give him the year. But that's what we did with DJ LeMahieu. We tacked on that 5th year, and now we're paying him for 2 years. He's not even on the roster. So I completely stand by the Yankees. I hope they hold true. I think they're a little worried to give Tucker 9 years as well, but I think they'd be willing to go there with Tucker. He is younger than Bellinger, and he, again, every year he's been in the league, he's been elite. So I don't see why you wouldn't go for Tucker there. You just have to figure out your backup center fielder scenario. Maybe a Harrison Bader or something like that, but it puts the Yankees in the weird spot because, Jones is ready to play MLB baseball. Dominguez is just a lost cause at this point. What are they doing with Dominguez? So I'm very intrigued to see what the Yankees are going to do within the next couple of days. I just got a notification. Wow, look at that. The Robert Suarez, 3 minutes ago, Robert Suarez signs to the Braves. Oh, I wanted Robert Suarez so bad. 3 years, $45 million. God, the Yankees couldn't give him 3 years, $45 million. Come on, man. That sucks. It is what it is, though. But that is the updates so far. That's the day 2 and 3 or the day 3 and half of day 4 updates as of now. So if anything big happens, I'll make another video tonight, or if it's tomorrow. I'm gonna do like every day and a half because it's going super slow. Even Ryan Cashman himself was like, this winter meeting is just moving like a glacier, man. It's just they're waiting for the right pieces to fall in the right place, which I really want to trust the Yankees, but I'm just worried. I'm very worried. But, let's let the process happen. Let's see. At the end of the day, if we signed another starting pitcher, we lost out on Bellinger, got a backup 4th outfielder. I'm not confident in them to win the World Series, but they're still putting a good roster out there, and then maybe they can work something out during the trade deadline. But that's all I got for today. Any comments, just, leave a comment down below. Let me know who you guys think the Yankees can pick up. Let me know if you have any frustrations with the Yankees. A couple of you guys have been doing that in a couple of my videos, a couple of my shorts, which I like reading them. I like seeing what you guys think. But I hope everybody has a wonderful day. Thank you if you're watching from the YouTube side or you're listening on the podcast side. If you guys want more frequent updates, like quick updates, anytime something happens that affects the Yankees, I will, within the next couple of hours, I'll talk about it. So if you want to hear something like that, follow me on TikTok, Instagram, or you could just watch shorts here. I post them on the shorts as well, on YouTube shorts. So I hope everybody has a wonderful day. Thank you for watching, and as always, go Yankees.